Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
This is Jon Schaffer from Demons&Wizards, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to have Mr. Jon Schaffer of Demons&Wizards. Also, John is with the mighty Iced Earth as well. Demons&Wizards will release their new album in 15 years entitled 3, February 21st via Century Media Records. This is the follow-up to Touched by the Crimson King. Also, Demons&Wizards have released their single and music video for Diabolic, which is out now. So, John, great stuff from you guys, man, and how's it going?
It's going killer. We have certainly been very busy guys, and we're excited about the release of the new record. So a lot of good stuff happening.
Yes, sir. I know you and Hansi have been friends for over 3 decades, but who was the mastermind of bringing this band together, or was it just something mutual that you guys have been wanting to do for a long time?
Well, we became friends when we were touring together 30 years ago, and I would say, and that was very early 90s, and then I think it was about 1997 or 98 that I was at Hansi's house visiting, and we had gone out partying and stuff, and which happened pretty frequently back in those days. But we, woke up pretty hungover, and there was a guitar in his living room, and I just grabbed it, and I was just playing around, sitting on the couch, and then he starts humming this melody, and we look at each other and like, hey, this sounds pretty cool. And so we just went to the Blind Guardian studio, and we wrote and recorded our first song together, which is called My Last Sunrise. And it ended up being the last song on the first album. So that's basically the story of how it happened. It wasn't one of us. It just happened. And then we even considered doing a Blind Guardian and an Iced Earth version of My Last Sunrise. But then at some point we just decided, well, why don't we just write more songs and do a side project? Mm-hmm. And that's when we did it, and it was a big success, and Crimson King was a big success. But we as time went on, the bands got bigger on a global level. The market, with the advent of the internet and everything changed. Everything changed, and so the bands, our schedules were not lining up. That's why it took 15 years, not because we didn't want to. It was just because I'd be off in the middle of a world tour when Hansi would have some time to do some work, or vice versa, and there was it went from an album cycle consisted in the beginning of just doing a part of Europe. And then it got bigger, more markets in Europe. And then it came to North America, and then, South America and Asia and Australia and New Zealand and China and whatever. I mean, Iced Earth has played everywhere in the world, practically. And it just grew to a point where an album cycle became not just like, we do a record and go to Europe for a month. Now it's like we're touring for a year and a half on an album. Sure. And going to many different places around the world. And that same thing happened to Blind Guardian. So it's just the situation is that the schedules were very difficult to line up.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making this new album, 3, if anything? What's about it that sticks out the most for you possibly, John?
Well, the bit of the album, I mean, like about 3.5 of these songs were written during the Iced Earth Incorruptible writing period. It's A New Dawn, Universal Truth, Invincible, and most of Midas Disease. And the rest of the album I started writing in November of 2018. And it was after I had done I was really getting close to burnout, and I decided to go on a big hike by myself out in Arizona. So I stayed out in the desert and the mountains for like a month, completely disconnected by myself, and hiking every day and camping out in the mountains. And it was just killer. And that was the biggest plus for the development of this album, because I was super inspired when I got back. And once the writing started, which was in November of 2018, it was very fast. I mean, on my side. Hansi's parts, that's something else. But my duty in Demons and Wizards is to take care of all of the instrument stuff. He does the vocal melodies, and then we work on lyrics together. But I arrange all the music and the songs themselves, and so that came super fast. I mean, I was basically like the whole album was written and recorded within a period of like maybe 3 or 4 months in terms of the instrumental parts. By March 15th of 2019. I had recorded the entire band. All the parts were done, and it just was a matter of Hansi doing vocals, and he started that over in Germany. So, there's like 4 different tunings on this album, so that helps lend to the very diverse sound and the dynamic flow of the record. But I can't, really say like what is my favorite or what part, because I really love the entire record. But I would say that the biggest benefit for this album, and Hansi agrees because he knows me really well, was that I took that break and really got myself recharged, and then the songs just really, I feel like they're very strong. So I'm happy with it.
I know as musicians, you guys grow all the time. I mean, you guys are constantly doing stuff to critique your music playing. But do you see the growth between the previous album to this one as far as Demons and Wizards?
Oh, yeah, it's huge because it was 15 years ago that the last album came out. So
right.
we have grown enormously as human beings, which is the first step to getting your art to develop and grow. But we've grown, individually, and we grew together. I mean, I think Hansi and I's bond is as strong or stronger than it's ever been. And we had a very intense summer and lots of shows, a hectic schedule of, finalizing vocals in Europe, plus putting the live band together and touring, and we did a couple video shoots. And I mean, in a very short period of time, we accomplished some pretty incredible stuff. There is a significant amount of growth that you'll hear from Crimson King to this album. I mean, we are, we're the same, but we're different. Because we've grown, we've gained so much more knowledge, from a production standpoint, from life itself, as artists, it's in every way. So it's a factor. You can hear it, I think.
Writing these songs, Jon, does it challenge you both or push you to make each song different or just add something new that Demons and Wizards haven't done before, possibly? I
would say there's some new-ish elements on here for sure in the songs, but the only decision, and it was just a discussion that I had with Hansi, was like I said, I want us to go, into our love of classic rock a little bit more on this album. So I told him I wanted to write a big classic rock epic, and I ended up, doing 2, and that's Children of Cain and Timeless Spirit. And those are, so that would be one of the bigger differences, I guess, between this album. We have on both of the first records, we have those little elements and moments of classic rock stuff, but we don't really go in as deep as we did on this on a couple of tracks. And they're long ones. I mean, they're like, I think they're both close to 10 minutes or maybe a little over. So they're the big songs, a lot of acoustic guitar, mandolins on Children of Cain. And it just has this epic storytelling vibe. And then Timeless Spirit, that's definitely a total reflection of stuff that was going on in my head out in the desert when I was hiking and in the mountains and stuff. And that is reflected lyrically and musically. Absolutely. I wrote the lyrics for that one. And so it's definitely that was the only decision that was made, is that, the rest of it just flowed very naturally. I mean, it's just the way the music came out. But the goal for me as a composer is definitely to, I'm old school, man. I'm not a playlist guy. I'm a guy who likes to, when I get a new album from one of my favorite artists, I want to listen to it top to bottom. I want to look at the artwork. I want to read the lyrics. I want to really immerse myself into the album. So that's what I try to inspire in people when it comes to whatever it is that I'm doing with Iced Earth or with Demons and Wizards or, whatever, Purgatory, Sons of Liberty, any of my stuff. I try to take people on a journey, and part of that is keeping it dynamic. I mean, if you have a song that is the same kind of, if you're constantly repeating the same tempos and the same energy, then it becomes a little less interesting to listen to. if it's always the same dynamic. So regardless, I mean, if you go back to the first Demons records or the early Iced Earth albums, there's always these breakdown bridges where we go into sometimes a very Pink Floyd atmosphere or whatever. I mean, a lot of different of those influences, and then we crank it back up and go heavy. And that's just, I always call it the roller coaster ride of emotion. We want to take people on a journey and not ever have it feel like it's getting boring, and that's always the goal. Whether I'm writing a 16-minute song, a 32-minute song, a 10-minute song, or a 3.5-minute song, I want it to be entertaining and take the listener on a journey where they can just close their eyes and escape for a while, and that's the goal.
And no matter how long you've been in the game, I don't care if you've been in for 15, 20, 3 years, I don't care. It's cool when you see a band that doesn't give a shit about what they want to add to their music. They're not scared to go outside that box and add different instruments, and I love that. So kudos to you guys and everybody who does that still to this day.
Thank you. Yeah, there should be, I mean, with the Demons and Wizards thing, Hansi and I, we do this for fun. We do it to be able to spend time together because we know we have a really magical chemistry between us and that people really enjoy it. So, but it's rooted in friendship. And if it ever was the kind of thing that became not fun and super stressful, then, neither one of us are going to want to do it. But we don't have to do, we can do whatever the hell we want. We don't have to go, there is nobody on, nobody's heel on us or nobody's boot on us trying to control what we do creatively. Not neither of our bands either, to be fair. We determine what it is that we're going to do. So it's just the way it is, man.
Any tracks for you standing out more to you than any possibly right now on this album? I know it must change every time you listen to it or you talk about it, but do you have any that stand out for you possibly, John?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite on the album, I would say, is probably Timeless Spirit. I love Diabolic. I really dig Wolves in Winter, which should be coming out before too long. Did another video and a single. Invincible also is a really strong song that's a slightly different wheelhouse than anything. Midas Disease is totally outside of the box. That's something that Hansi and I have never done in our main bands and have never done together. It's definitely a AC/DC style hard rock anthem. Mm-hmm. And that was a fun song to mess around with. So we have, it changes, man. I can't say what's my favorite. I would say if I had to pick one, almost every day it's going to be Timeless Spirit because that's so personal. But, a favorite does change depending on the mood that I'm in of the day because a lot of those songs certainly reflect different moods.
Was it hard to choose between these current set of songs that you guys wanted to push first for the first single, possibly, or did you leave that to somebody else?
No, we did. Well, the first song was our decision, and that was Diabolic, and we made that decision. Like, basically, when I was writing this, Diabolic was the last song that I wrote, and I was feeling under pressure because I didn't feel like I had the right opening track, and I was just like, shit, man, none of these feel like the opener of the record and the first thing that needs to be heard after 15 years of no Demons. So I grabbed my baritone and I started playing, and everything just happened and it started unfolding. And I was like, all right, this is it. And I sent it to Hansi and he was like, fuck yeah, that's perfect. And so we decided pretty early that was going to be the first single. We had been offered to have one of the songs be sort of this theme song for Wacken and for that year. And we really strongly considered doing that. But that would have meant, and we even rehearsed with the touring band over in Germany, the guys that we jammed with over there, well, in North America too. But we played Wolves in Winter, and then I just got the idea, like, you know what, this is a bad idea because that means that everybody's going to be exposed to a new Demons and Wizards song from poorly recorded cell phone footage, and it's not going to be the right kind of impact. So I said, let's forget this, and let's just play the old stuff at these shows. We'll get this album finished, and the big impact is going to happen when Diabolic comes out. And people go, whoa, holy crap, I didn't see this coming, So we launched that video kind of out of the blue, and everybody was just blown away by it. So the strategy worked. It was the right thing to do, even though we were very tempted and we wanted to, play Wolves in Winter over there, but we didn't. So
Midas Disease is your tribute to AC/DC's Malcolm Young. What led you to pay homage to one of metal's legendary rhythm guitarists, man?
Man, it's because I've been a fan since I was a kid, and I just remember seeing Let There Be Rock, and there's a part where Bon Scott talks about Malcolm Young being the secret weapon of the band. He is the groove. He was an amazingly groovy rhythm guitar player, but he came up with some really badass riffs too, and that's why they called him the secret weapon. And I just always have had I'm a rhythm guitar player. I mean, I play lead guitar melodies all over our records, and I did a couple solos in the early days, but I just don't feel it. And it's also somewhat of a time issue for me because I'm running I don't have 4 hours in a day where I can sit around and play guitar. That never happens. I mean, I'm lucky sometimes to be able to play guitar for 4 hours in a 2-month period if there's tons of business stuff going on and logistics and everything to deal with. I mean, it's a business and it requires daily attention. So there's a lot more than just touring and recording going on with it. But my biggest heroes are rhythm guys, like Steve Harris, Neil Peart, Geezer Butler, Roger Waters is a bass player. He's one of my favorite. I love the old Pink Floyd stuff, and he's one of my favorite writers ever. And so, I mean, there's just, for some reason, those are my dudes. And I felt when I came up with that riff, I'm like, man, this has totally got that opening riff. This has totally got an AC/DC vibe to it. So, and I came up with most of that song during the I Surf Incorruptible writing sessions. And I just decided if I ever use this for anything, it's going to be a tribute to Malcolm Young because it's got that vibe to it. And that's it, just because I was very sad when he passed away, and I wanted to just do a little tribute for him. That's it.
Yeah, that sucked, man. I'm a big fan of AC/DC, and I hope I get to see him out on tour. I know they're going on tour, but let's hope they come over here. That's what I'm hoping. I hope so.
Hell yeah, man. I hope so too.
Who produced this album, John?
It was a collaborative effort, but I was definitely in the lead production, position. But it was me and Jim Morris and Hansi. But I kind of had to take that role because there were 5 different engineers working on this album. So, I had to really be in command of the situation kind of the whole way through, all the way up to mastering, because there were we were working in so many different studios with different engineers that required, a lot of communication. But the thing is, there's very, in the metal world, I think in general, it's just a producer it depends on what the vision of it is the artist. I mean, if the artist has a very precise vision of what they want, there's not really that big of a need for a producer. If you're somebody that needs help with song arrangements and helping to get the tones and best, I mean, another guy outside can be very good to inspire and do things. But in my case, I have such a clear-cut vision for what it is that I'm chasing. I mean, I'm in my head, it's just, I don't need a producer. Let's put it that way. It's really not it's not like I have a couple riffs and I don't really know what to do. I know exactly what to do. I've been doing songcraft for over 30 years. So, and I know how to get good sounds and that kind of stuff, or what sounds good, let's put it that way. And, so, yeah, I mean, that's on this album. It was a collaborative effort, but I was definitely in kind of the lead position of producing.
So how was working with artist David Newman Stump? Now, you guys have worked with him before, correct? And you guys have got different variations of the album art. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, David's a friend of mine. He's my tattoo artist, and so he's done some stuff since I guess his first album where he did the full pencil line art. He does the line art. He doesn't do the colors. That's another guy named Roy Young. So it's not really fair to give it all the credit to Dave because Roy Young has a huge part in it as well. But Dave does the line work and the shading sometimes. So on Incorruptible was his first album, working with me in that capacity. And then he did the Touched by the Crimson King reissue art, him and Roy. And then they also did the new one. He's a great artist, great guy. I've known him for a long time. He's done most of the ink that's on my body. And so, we go back a long ways. And he will continue to do stuff, in the future. Probably not everything. Well, definitely not everything. Because I always work with different artists depending on whatever project it is. But he will be involved. And it was my idea. I thought it took a lot to convince the label to do variant covers, but I think it's, for one thing, as a collector, I'm a big fan of comics and graphic novels and stuff. And so I thought that it would be really cool to help try to spur on physical sales, because that's one of the things that we're battling in the music business, is everything is going to streaming, which is, dude, it's bullshit. I mean, it's just not a cool way to experience music. I realize that's the way younger people are doing it now, but they're missing out on that whole exciting thing of going to the store, buying an actual record where you can see the artwork really big and spinning it, man, and getting into the album. I mean, that's part of a record release, and all of this playlisting stuff, you just can't have the same kind of experience. So I'm trying to inspire that in people more and push the idea of getting, really cool physical content so you can dig in. So basically it's a variant color. It's not a totally different artwork, but having said that, the Demons and Wizards merch store exclusive that sold out very fast it's a grayscale version of the cover. And, the Lucifer has a goatee in our version. He doesn't have that on anything else. And then there's like a special box set that's got two 12-inch blood red vinyl, a 7-inch. It's also blood red. And the box itself, the artwork it's all red. It's got a really ominous, badass look to it. And it's got a CD in there and this hardback book that has really all of the killer artwork and the lyrics and stuff and photos from us touring and everything. And that's like the ultimate package, right? That's the most deluxe version. And then they have a CD art book that's just got a couple CDs, but a lot of cool imagery inside it also. And that one's a green color, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but that's what they wanted to do. And then we got the normal blue release. So the blue one is actually the main cover. That's the one that'll be most widely found. But, it's just for collectors and for people, because what they're doing is they always do like 7 to 10 colors of vinyl per release. And I'm like, why don't we, instead of having people just chasing whatever colors that they want for their vinyl collection, why don't we also change the cover so that then it's actually even more exciting for them to I got to get that version, instead of just chasing the color of the record that's in the same sleeve everywhere. So that was the idea behind it. I have no idea if it's going to really be, I think people were excited about it, but I don't know yet because it's not out and I haven't actually seen the final product yet. So I'm supposed to be getting one FedEx to me from Germany, and I will be doing an unboxing video just as quick as I can to show people how cool the red version is. Awesome. And the other one. We will do them all.
I like the one that's out right now, the debut one. I love that, the blue one. I love it's just awesome. I love the tone of it. I love how it pops. It's good stuff, man. So he really nailed it. You guys did an awesome job on this cover art.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's something I'm involved in every step of the way, from the concepts and all the way to the very end, to the working with our product manager on what formats and everything, because I started off an artist. I was actually an artist before I started playing guitar, and I've been a gigantic fan of graphic novels and comic style artwork for most of my life. So the cover art, even though I didn't have control of it on the first few Iced Earth records, once I did get control of it, and once we had Todd McFarlane do our Dark Saga cover, because the whole album is based on the Spawn story, and once that came out, at that point I had full rights of how my albums were going to look and everything. And from there going forward, every cover we've ever done has been really badass. And, I always take that stuff very seriously.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Demons and Wizards. New album in 15 years, folks. I'm telling you, pick this album up, give them a chance, pick their other stuff up. They got some really good stuff. It's entitled 3. It's released February 21st via Century Media Records. John, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy this new album, all your stuff that you guys have? How can they do that?
They can get merchandise at demonsandwizardsmerch.com. They can follow Demons and Wizards Official on Instagram or the Demons and Wizards Facebook page. Same with Iced Earth. I'm at Jon Schaffer Official on Instagram. I'm always, sneaking stuff out there to the people early sometimes. I just got started about a month ago on Instagram, and because my daughter's been on me about it for years, and I'm like, it's a different world, but for me. So anyway, I'm pretty old school dude, but that's kind of a new development. It's happening, and so there's if people want to learn about us all they got to do is Google the name, and they're going to find plenty of stuff. We're both veterans. We've been in this game for a long time, and we're going to be cranking out some cool music for several more years to come.
Good deal, man. Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show, John?
No problem, man. This is Jon Schaffer from Demons and Wizards, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our new podcast link and plus our YouTube link. Please subscribe to our YouTube link because everything and anything that we do is going to on these sites. So this is our new stuff going up. So also check out Demons and Wizards. You will not be disappointed. John, thank you guys so much. And, man, don't wait 15 years, okay?
I don't think it will be, man. I don't think it will be. We're going to try to, get together after the next Ice Earth and Blind Guardian cycle and probably do some shows in 2022 and maybe some more new music. But we'll see, man. We have crazy lives. But in 15 years, we're both going to be too old to do anything serious with Demons and Wizards. So it's got to happen. It's got to happen before that. So.
All right, man. I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, John.
I appreciate it, buddy. You take care of yourself.
You too. See you later.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.